Welcome back to another episode of Allowed to Ask. You know those questions your mom asks, like, where are you meeting them? What are your plans? First Rounds on Me answers all of those questions before she has anything to worry about. With First Rounds on Me, you can confidently say you have it all handled, no awkward moments, just smooth planning. First Rounds on Me is a dating app changing the game by helping singles get out there and actually connect. First Rounds on Me makes meeting, planning, and actually going on dates really easy. Spot someone you're interested in, send a date request with the time, date, and location, and you're set. No endless small talk from your couch. First Rounds on Me takes the hardest part of dating and simplifies it. Hey, Mom.
Hi.
What's going on?
Nothing. Life is good.
Missed you.
It's a pretty day. Miss you too.
I know. It's like 80 degrees in November.
Right.
80 degrees and sunny.
Right. It is
That's
sunny.
me.
It's you.
Just a solo episode today. Solo meaning just us two. Again, we've kind of been loving these more than we
Yes.
thought we would. We thought it would be nice to just really talk about our relationship. We have some new listeners, which is so exciting. So talking about our relationship, how we got so close. I'm curious to hear your side of things. I feel like we never really talked about it. Would love to dive into you and your mom, how, that really made you become, being gentle with my words, how that made you become the amazing mom that
We
you
can
are.
touch on that.
We could lightly dabble. And then, dabble in the conversation around like confidence and how you instilled that in me. And I think I instilled some confidence in you, dare I say.
Yeah.
And then what we learned from each other.
Perfect. Love
That was
that.
an overall little recap.
Okay.
I would love to hear your perspective on how you think we grew so close. I feel like I've talked about in episodes, like you always provided that platform for me to talk to you and come to you about things that usually are very uncomfortable, like losing your virginity or going on a first date or whatever it may be. You made it so comfortable. So, like,
Right.
from your perspective.
Well, we're going to backtrack.
Oh, we're backtracking.
But I am super happy that we have this great and close relationship because
Love.
I always wanted it. And it's on purpose, kind of, because I really didn't have that when I was young. And from a young age, I kind of tried to give you a foundation. I wanted you to feel loved, heard, seen, all those things, and always safe.
Mm-hmm. I would say I felt very all of the above of all those things.
Right. But that was like important because I was kind of girls gone wild when I was young.
Yeah, but you were still chill about like, I mean, I don't think I was ever girls gone wild, but I definitely was like your quote unquote normal teen who was like going out and doing drinking,
Right.
drugs, and all those
Which
things.
is totally like normal. And it's
Well, you
all
used to
part of
always
growing
say
up.
everything in moderation.
Correct. And when I grew up, it was more, I felt like my mom was just kind of going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
Like day by day. I remember when I used to say, like, Mom, what do you want for your birthday? And she's like, peace and quiet, which always kind of made me feel like I was always kind of doing something wrong.
No, that's so sad.
Yeah. I grew up with two older brothers.
Peace and quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that because like you are loud and annoying, but like that's really mean.
Right. But she didn't.
As a mom, that's so sad.
I think she did the best she could do, and also she didn't have a great relationship.
Where'd you learn that from?
Believe it or not, like one therapy session, which we'll touch on later.
Okay.
But I think I was always searching like for her love and her approval, and she just couldn't give me what I really think I was striving for.
Yeah.
Or thriving, not thriving.
You were
wanting. Yeah, wanting.
Like you were
unconditional.
You were striving for unconditional love, and
Correct.
you weren't getting that. English just hard.
Correct. Like her life was just kind of on autopilot, and she was just like blasting through the days. I also grew up with two older brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember that somebody, and trust me, I had a fine childhood. It was nice. My dad traveled a lot. He kind of, I mean, I just remember him asking me like what grade I was. He is, I mean, he passed away, but he was a good man, I think.
Yeah.
But there was always like
a little bit removed.
Yes. He was more in charge of like,
I've never met him, which is so crazy.
Bringing home the bacon. Yeah, right. Well, Jordan was 2.5 when my dad passed away. So it was
I don't even
quite a
think I
while
was
ago.
conceived yet.
You weren't born.
Was I conceived? Were you pregnant?
No. If Jordan was 2.5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Well, no. If he's 2.5, then yeah.
No, but I wasn't pregnant when he passed away.
But Jordan.
I always remember. So somebody was always in the doghouse. It was always like a lot of unresolved.
What do you mean? Someone was always in the doghouse? Like someone was always in trouble?
Somebody was always in trouble, and unfortunately, it was usually my older brother, who's no longer with us because he had his little issues.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of really never.
Were you like grounded? Like were you like traditional like bad kid walked into your room?
No, I was
Oh.
girls gone wild. I
Oh.
was 13 and partying and hanging out with bikers and hanging out with
So
my
that's
brother's
why you love
friends.
Harley Davidson.
Could be that it started that, yes, because actually when I was young then, I used to sew it all over my clothes. Like the
The
Harley
patches?
Davidson one, and I had the wings on my butt, and yeah, I think yeah,
Ooh,
that's
where are those
why.
pants? That sounds cute.
Yeah, God knows. They
Eh,
were like landlubber pants.
what's
It was
that?
like that was like a hot brand like
Oh,
way back when.
probably, like, super low-waisted. Like, your ass
Yes.
crack is about to hang out.
Yes, 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 because that was the vibe. But my it was never really stressed. Family and being together. Um, and that kind of explains why my friends are so important to me. And my friends fill
Yeah.
me up because even when I was young, I always turned to my friends, and my friends have become family.
And you still have friends that you were friends with even back in the day, like, when you were in college.
Yeah, college, yes,
College,
but not
yes.
so much in high school.
That's so sad, like, I can't even think about a time when I'm not friends with my friends in high school.
But it was different because I kind of hung out with like not I don't want to say people on the wrong side of the tracks, but like
People on the
on the
wrong
wrong
side of
side
the
of the tracks.
tracks.
I mean, my high school boyfriend was a high school dropout,
Okay. Okay.
right?
I wonder where he is now.
Who knows? But like I would be all
I
over
almost said something fucked up. I was like, under the train track.
no, I would be all over that if like that was your life. But my mother was kind of like, I
Yeah,
don't
but your
know.
mom probably didn't even know that you were doing these things, or do you think she knew?
No, I think she was
Like,
just
she turned a
total.
blind eye.
Yeah, totally.
Like, did she know that you guys were, like, had drugs in the basement behind the
Yeah, because she
speaker?
used to find it and flush it. You remember that? She
Yeah.
used to flush it down, but it was never nothing was ever really addressed. My brother
Interesting.
Phil like took the car and went to like left college, went to California, became a truck driver. Like
What?
they
He
were
was
still
a
paying
truck
tuition.
driver?
Yeah, just and then he worked on a radio
And they were still
station.
paying tuition?
Yeah,
How'd they find out?
I don't even remember. I don't even remember.
That's crazy.
Right, but my brother Phil at a young age was a drug abuser and an alcoholic, and nothing was ever really resolved. Like my father kind of tried to hide it from my mother. Like they just didn't want to deal with things.
Okay. Okay.
You know?
So that gave you the approach of when you had kids, you were like, I'm going to deal with everything.
I attempt to, yes.
Nope. You successfully did that.
Right. And then even like when I got married, now we're really because we can't go over all those years.
Fast forward.
I just remember like moving into the city, and my parents weren't really happy for me, and it was their way or the highway. And I
I want to
remember
give you a hug right
oh,
now.
sad.
Are you going to cry?
No, no, I'm not
Okay.
gonna cry. But I remember like
Very emotional this episode. Jesus Christ.
that's why I put on my cozy.
This isn't
clothes.
usually, we're not usually like this.
Yeah,
We were
people
talking
are
about, like,
cry.
yeah.
But I want people to see that like you could change things and
You don't have to take the same path that your parents took with you.
correct, correct. So I remember like it's exciting. I'm getting married and moving into the city with my husband. And I remember my parents like they were so against it because they wanted to keep me like in their little universe in my apartment in Great Neck.
Which is interesting enough because if they wanted nothing to do with you, no offense, like, why would they even care where you are?
Because it was like they cared when I was on like it was all a control thing kind of.
Got it.
And it was hard for me to cut the cord because I was always and I still find myself trying to prove myself to my mom like I'm great and I'm happy and whatever. but
Yeah.
we'll get into that in a second. So I remember like literally packing up my apartment and moving into the city alone. Like, could you imagine me letting
No.
you do that?
No.
Like,
Well, I think, like, maybe down the line, if I'm like, when I'm moving into like a home, like, I imagine you helping, like, maybe not because I'm a full blown adult. I don't know.
but I would help you. I would lend
Yeah.
you a helping hand, or especially if you know, one day, whatever, like moving with a guy or move or whatever. Of
Yeah.
course, I'll always be there for you.
Yeah.
But it was
I
literally
can't
like
do it without my mommy.
I hired like a moving person. Like I did it all by myself. That's like kind of sad and lonely.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So I just never wanted to be like that.
No.
Um,
Which is nice because I feel like a lot of the times, not that I know anything about parenting, but like people would take the same path that they had.
correct
growing
because they
up.
don't know any different.
Correct.
Exactly. And all you want really is like your parents' support and blessings, and
Yeah.
it just makes you feel good. So you definitely benefited
Absolutely.
the way I was raised. And it wasn't bad. I mean, I did have a nice childhood and stuff. It wasn't bad, but I
No, you
always
had a
try
nice
to make
childhood, but-
things easier for you.
Right. And you definitely have, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then, I got married. I moved into the city. I was working. My dad passed away. And I remember this kind of set really the tone when I guess I kind of not cut the cord with my mom because I don't even know if I ever really did that.
No, the cord's still there.
Yeah. But I remember when I had my son and daddy, dad called, my mom from, the hospital and said, "You have a grandson, Jordan." And she's like, "Are you sure about that name?" Like, okay, so that basically set the tone.
Oh,
And then
wait, I like the name
I
Jordan.
love the name. I always wanted a Jordan.
Does Jordan know that?
I don't know. He doesn't.
He doesn't
listen
listen,
either.
so you're never gonna
I'll
know,
never
Jordan, unless someone who's listening shares it with you.
And then
You sure about that?
I
name?
waited 5 days for my mom to come in. I kept saying, come in, Mom, please come in." And she was like waiting for my sister-in-law and like my nephew, who now is married with his own kids.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Ma, like," and not to be mean, I love my nephew, my sister-in-law, I couldn't give a shit about. But like, I was like, "Ma, just come in, come in." She's like, no, she wants to come with me. Like, remember, we didn't even like her. Like, why did
Yeah.
you come with us?
Yeah, she
So
also wasn't a good
she
person.
came
Yeah.
5 days later after I had Jordan. Like,
No, that's crazy.
I
I think
might-
about when I have a child, like
I mean,
I
I
feel
won't
like
be in the delivery
I feel like you're
room,
gonna be
but I'm
like,
gonna try.
well, it's actually funny. Someone asked me recently. They were like, when you have kids, do you think I was like with 2 girls, and they were like, do you think when you have a kid, do you want your mom in the room with you? And I said, I was like my gut reaction is like, yeah, like my mom's gonna be there. But then I really thought about it. I was like, I feel like I'd only really want her in there if it was like something bad was
Right,
happening. But like if I'm having like a good pregnancy, like a good
Yeah, but
birthing,
I'll be right outside the door.
right. I don't think I need my mom like seeing me like that.
Well, I wouldn't even look at that.
Are you sure?
I would be.
Are you sure?
I'm over that.
You're literally, yeah. I had this weird thing growing up that like I could not show my mom my vagina.
And you would show me everything. It was like, oh my God. It was like,
God,
whatever.
I'm still the same way though. Like I still don't.
I just did it before. But maybe it's like more of a joke now. And trust me,
I just think it's weird for you to see my vagina. Like that's just.
it's fine. You could keep that person.
No, I want to show you now.
No, thank you.
So yeah, you'll be outside unless I'm having like some emergency, like,
Correct.
and I need you in there. But like other than that, it's just me and my husband.
Right.
Sorry.
Unless your husband can't handle it, and I got to catch him.
No, my husband will absolutely be able to handle it.
Okay. So, but that basically
We'll do some training.
set the tone. Oh, so then my mother came 5 days later, and
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
so
excited
fucked
she was
up.
here. She, and I'm showing her stuff and whatever, and
Like you popped your first baby out like 5 days earlier.
right, and she wasn't even there. Like that's
Weird.
And then, I had asked her because I always like to eat. I asked her if she could stop at my favorite chicken place on the way in and bring me in some food, and she said no, she wasn't stopping. Which every time I come into the city, I'm picking up something for you, but it's my pleasure.
You concierge service.
Right, but that's what fills me up. So then my
Well,
mother
then, so why do
came,
you complain about
and
it?
I like to get some mileage. And then within 20 minutes, she said, "Oh, do you have any food for such and such, my sister-in-law, whatever?" And I was like, "No, Mom, sorry. Like, I'm not that organized right now." And they left.
No.
Like, yeah. So ever since then, it's been pretty bad.
And that was 30 years ago.
30 years ago, but I remember like yesterday. And then
That's so beyond fucked. I'm sorry.
right. I mean, you might have heard these
Fatty
stories.
didn't get her chicken.
No.
Aw.
And it was great. I love that place. And
Well,
you
what
would
place
think
is it?
Poultry Mart. It's not it was in Great Neck.
Oh, sad.
And then throughout life, I'm just giving you little cliff notes, like
No,
two more
yeah,
stories.
sorry, my
and that's it.
contacts are bothering me. so rubbing my eyes.
And then throughout life, my mother totally favored my brother and his kids. And, he lived in Great Neck by my mom. But
Do you think if you lived on Long Island, like you would have a better relationship with her?
could have been better because I think she totally punished me that
Yeah.
I didn't live on Long Island. But, I mean, I just want my kids happy. Like, who cares where you are? You can
So if I don't live
FaceTime,
in
you can have a-
Westchester, am I later on in life, you won't be upset?
No, I really won't. I just want you happy.
Yeah.
I just want you, like,
What about when I was moving to Miami?
yeah, but that was like for 6 months. So that I could have handled.
Yeah.
A lifetime of it. I mean, I guess at this stage of the game, maybe I would have followed you there or something, but or somewhere around there. But,
That would be crazy. Well, yeah, if I went
But
to
I'm-
Miami, you'd probably end up in Boca.
right, like I'm getting, that age anyway. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been so bad.
You don't have to go to Florida just because you're getting to that age. You know that, right?
No, and every time I talk about it, I push it back another year.
Oh, so where are
not
we at
really
now?
ready
When
for
are you
that.
going to Florida?
6, 7 years.
You're gonna be there when you're like old and gray. Never gray though. Old and brunette or blonde. I'm not
Right,
sure which
right,
one.
right.
Okay.
But I love where we live, and I'm happy wherever we go. But I'm happy being away in the summer and then coming
Yeah,
home.
no, you got a good freaking life.
I love my
No, you got
community.
good things going on.
It's a good gig. But anyway, my mother always favored my brothers and his kids. Um, I would call her and be like, "Oh, Danny's doing this and Jordan's doing that," and all I'd hear about is my brother's kids, and she had to go to this one's saxophone and this one's soccer.
Saxophone.
Yeah, Matthew
Oh.
played the saxophone.
Oh, interesting.
And then, she did this with this one, and then she bought them this, and then they'd be at her house and she played games and whatever.
But why do you think that is slouchy? Why do you think that is the case? Like, why do you feel like they were such? Because you said like she wasn't a good mom to you, but was she a good mom to your brothers growing up? Like, why do you think it was just you?
No. Growing up, I think we were fine. I think she just wasn't so involved.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people who are listening who have these issues, like it's really, I mean, people have this.
Right, but why do you think when you got older, at least when you like had a family of your own, why do you think that there was such favoritism towards the other side?
Because I think they maybe needed her more, and I think my mother needs to be needed. Like she just couldn't spread the joy.
But you needed her when you were younger, and she wasn't there for you.
It's not that she wasn't there for me. I mean, she never did anything bad or
Right.
anything. She just, it was just different. Like they never told me they loved me. They just,
Your parents never told you they loved you.
not really, only like in a connotation if something bad happens. Like not that I did something bad, but they just
Like, we love you, but
right. Or
Mhm.
like when I was engaged and my
To
fiance
dad
broke
or
up with me,
the
Andrew.
fiance before, yeah.
My parents left for a month to go to St. Thomas. I mean, could you imagine you being heartbroken?
No,
and
when
then
I've been
leaving you
heartbroken, I've literally
alone?
been home for like weeks.
Remember, I used to come in every Sunday.
Well, yeah, that's how our Sunday tradition started.
And
My
you did
mom comes in
self-therapy.
not every single Sunday anymore, especially now since we started this. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I was like so heartbroken. My mom would come in every single Sunday and we do retail therapy and just walk around the city
And eat.
and eat. And then it got to a point where it was like 2 years later, I'm like, wait, I'm good. Like, you don't need to come in anymore.
Right.
Right. That's crazy.
Right. So how my mother was so unfair in the way she treated me compared to, like, I'd have to go there for a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother was like 10 minutes away and he didn't have to show up. But we had to like hold back on the food so he could come, when it was convenient for him.
Right.
My mother's also a huge sexist. And
Which is
then
wild because she's a woman. But
holidays. I remember it was Thanksgiving and I was newly married and I wanted to go to my in-laws because, my sister-in-laws are there. It was like fun versus
yeah.
I felt like for you kids. Well, no, I didn't have kids then. What I'm talking about now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like it was fun going to my mom's. Whatever.
Right.
My parents were like, you must come, whatever. So it was just before my 30th birthday, that Thanksgiving. I told them I'm not coming to Thanksgiving. I'm going to the other side of the family. My parents did not talk to me for 5 months.
What?
They didn't call me for my 30th birthday. Like they just didn't. And that's why you benefited from that. Because I even said to you, like, if you can't make it to Thanksgiving, I totally get it. Like, that's why I hate holidays.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's so sad.
I hate the holidays.
I
like
know,
all the
but
Jewish
it's so
holidays.
sad.
Because it was stressful.
I know. That's so sad.
Yeah, but I'm trying
Love
to.
you.
I'm
so
trying
sorry.
I'm trying to turn it around slowly.
I mean, you turned it around over the past 30 years since you
Like
had
turn
children.
that around, but not the holidays. I'm still lame.
Yeah, that get
Go
over. Like
after.
holidays are nice.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing.
No, please.
But a lot of people have issues with their parents, and I just saw
Absolutely.
something, or their moms, mother-daughter relationships. Bethany Frankel just posted something, and she was born on her mother's 20th birthday.
Wow.
So that she always shared a birthday with her mom, and they had kind of contentious relationship. So, and she put that out there the other day, so people see like you're not alone.
It's way more common than you think.
Correct. And
Right.
not everyone talks about it.
No, well, you never really talk about it ever until like I don't know if you talked about it, but like I feel like you didn't start talking about it until I feel like my brother and I really started to comprehend.
Right,
it.
but I also think you guys didn't understand. I think like Jordan thought like I was being mean or something when we were young.
Right,
'Cause
probably.
I was always so upset, but they didn't know the other end. And when I used to say to my mom, like, come see me. It makes me sad. You're always with
I
those
don't
kids."
think I was even aware.
She goes, "You're so jealous." I was like, yeah, I am a little jealous of your time. Like, I have like two great kids here.
Yeah.
And even now when I see her, so now she's like 92, has a little dementia. She's definitely aging.
Well, and she's
Um,
92, so yeah.
yeah. And she doesn't listen, thank God, because we don't need her to hear this. But I still always try to prove to her, like, oh, Danny's doing great and Jordan's doing, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know why I even try, but
Well,
I guess
because she's your mom and you would like that connection, but I think she's 92 and you're 60 whatever. I don't think it's ever gonna change, especially since it's been going on like this since you were born.
right. So now at this stage of my life, I mean, there's so many stories, but we'll unpack them another day. I
Yeah.
talked a lot about it. I don't want people to be depressed. But
Well,
now
no, it's more inspiring. Like you had a good upbringing, but not the best connection with your parents, and you
correct.
made it the most positive outcome that you could.
Perfect. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
But now when I see her, I mean, I'm not mad at her anymore. I let all of that go. I think she did
That one therapy session did
really,
wonders.
literally,
Okay, so backstory, I've been telling my mom she should go to therapy about her mom for like a very long time.
like at least a decade.
At least a decade. Well, no, probably since I started well, I started therapy probably almost a decade ago. So she was like, I don't know where to start, blah, 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 blah.
Because I didn't want to go in and have to dredge up.
But you have to do that to like find closure. Like that's the point. It's
Right.
like it digs up parts that you probably don't even realize are in your subconscious to get over it and heal.
Right.
So my mom this past summer, was this summer or last spring?
Spring.
Finally was like, I got connected to a therapist. I'm going. I was like, great, you're gonna love it. I call her after her therapy session. I'm like, how was it? Like, did you like it? And she was like, she's just such a good listener. I'm like, no fucking shit. And then a few weeks later, I was like, oh, did you ever well, you loved it. You loved the session. You had a great time. You felt so much better. And then a few weeks later, I call her and I was like, did you ever go back to therapy? Like, are you still seeing her? You go, you know what? After that one session, I just feel so much better about it.
I did go back one other time, but I wasn't that focused. And I'm telling
What's the one thing she said? I remember you told me one thing that she said that really just like made you realize.
well, she kind of, I blabbed for 50 minutes. I was like crying and talking and whatever. And she just like listened and took down notes. And then for the last 10 minutes.
Was she wearing glasses on the tip of her
No,
nose
she was
saying,
like
how did it make you feel?
with the program check. And then the last 10 minutes, she just said, look, she just was not capable of loving you the way you wanted to be loved. I was like, oop, wrapped it up in a bow.
Yeah.
I feel better.
Peace, bye. She didn't talk the whole time. You just talked and she said
Nope.
that one thing.
Yeah, she asked me like a few questions or whatever. Yeah.
I think you just needed to word vomit to a stranger that wasn't dad, myself, Jordan,
Or my friends.
or your friends.
Yeah. But my friends, I think, they listen, but sometimes they can't believe the stories.
Right. Well, also
Okay.
because you're so fucking fabulous. It's like, how did it? Yeah,
Boo-boo.
I know.
But let's talk about parenting then. So how I
Yes.
pivoted
Well, not even just
and didn't
parenting.
repeat
Okay, yeah, actually parenting. Go
the
on.
same. I
Shit.
could have been just like my mother and been overwhelmed at everything and not been there for you. And
I literally can't imagine because you were like the best parent ever.
well, I tried to be.
Yeah. But like, you didn't know what to do. So did you? I mean, you weren't
And
like.
I wasn't even like dying to have kids. I mean, I know
I
always
know,
wanted to have
that's
kids, but it's not
crazy.
like I dreamed about this from my early 20s.
I'm the same way. Like, I know I want kids. I'm absolutely having kids in my life, but I'm not like I need to pop out a baby right now.
Right.
Like, that's
Okay.
not me. But like, I want kids for sure.
3 or 4 would be nice. But anyway, besides that,
I am not popping out 4 kids, I don't think.
well,
I might stick it at 2,
3.
maybe 3. But I don't like odd numbers, then I'll have to make it 4.
There you go.
Then it's really
That works.
expensive. Okay, we'll discuss. Not will discuss. Nothing to do with you. Literally nothing to do with you.
Correct. So being a parent is a lot of work, and you really do need to set your kid up for success. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen if you don't put the work in. And I think I took my job like a little bit too seriously. But it was my pleasure. But I did. I always made sure you had everything you need.
No, you were, and this is not saying it about over the top. Like when I think about you as a parent, it was putting name tags on my highlighters
Yeah, magic book.
and magic markers.
That was a little pathetic.
And that's pathetic. If someone steals my highlighter, who fucking cares?
No, but you remember I used to take you to 3 stores for your plastic folders.
Well, because I love a good school shop.
Eh,
Even now when I buy a new journal, like, I feel that excitement inside, like, going to one of those
See, I instilled
stores.
that in you when you
Yeah.
were little. We used to have to find, like, the cute little goat.
Like, yeah. Yeah. And we go, this one's cuter than this one.
Right, but those are fun memories.
Yeah, it was fun.
And most important, I wanted you to know that you could depend on me, that even if I wasn't happy in a situation, I wasn't going to be judgy with you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was ever a time when you were like mad at me. Maybe when I pre-gamed for the first time in our house and then I was throwing up the next day and I remember my head was over the toilet and you were like you were drinking and you didn't tell me or something like that. And I was like, obviously you knew you were drinking, but you were like a little mad.
Oh,
But that's really you were never like I can remember times that my dad was mad at me, but I can't remember times where you were actually
because
mad
he
at
has
me.
less patience than me.
Correct. But like we probably needed some of that in the household.
Okay, that wasn't from me. But back to being a parent, right?
Yeah.
You have to build a kid's self-esteem, build their confidence.
What do you think you did to build my
teach
confidence?
them
'Cause
right
I don't
from
think I was
wrong.
always so confident until I was an adult.
Yeah, but you were still like a cute little rockin' chick. Like you you did. You always had like nice friends, and if you didn't, you would just kind of pivot a little if somebody was mean. There was always like, maybe one little rotten apple in the group. um
Yeah, you're right.
uh
Did ditch the rotten apples.
I remember I used to try to spark, I want to expose you to everything. And I
Yeah.
always wanted you, I mean, I have a great life, but I want you to have a better life, and I want you to be comfortable, and I wanted you to learn good manners. And I mean, there's so much that goes into being a parent. You know what I mean?
It's
Like
so true.
it,
But you didn't know any of this shit. You just figured it out along the way.
yeah, and you were cute though. Like I would try to teach you to tie your shoe, and you used to go, I do it, I do it.
I do it.
Right. Remember that?
But ew, look at my ankles showing.
Okay.
I need to tuck my leg
I
in.
exposed you to things. The main thing taught you to advocate for yourself.
Yeah. No, you're stealing my things that I'm teaching that we're gonna talk about of
Oh.
what you taught me. You're
Okay,
teaching my
to be
things.
nice.
Well, yeah, that was your biggest thing too, which we'll get into, is like literally be nice to everyone because you never know who you'll come
Right.
across in your older life. And I'm realizing that so much now at my adult age.
Right,
My late
crazy.
20s officially.
Remember, I used to have meetings with you to tackle the week ahead, but that helped you. You couldn't run your business now if you weren't organized.
No, I
Right?
couldn't. Thank
And-
God for those were so painful though. Do you think in some
But it
ways
was-
you were a little overbearing?
Well, I think it gave
Aside
you
from the highlighter, the name tag on the
I think
highlighters?
it gave you structure and organization, and it also had you achieve goals. Like there was a lot into it for me, but
So were you panicking when I like wasn't a good student?
no, because and you know that we're going to talk about that.
You were just flying through these index
Yeah.
cards.
Um,
Because I like
No,
wasn't like I
have to
tried.
remember.
I worked my ass off growing up, but I wasn't I'm losing my train of thought. I wasn't like a good student, I would say.
Right, but I never tried. As far as being a good student, I try to focus on your strengths, and I was not a good student when I was young.
No.
But it was definitely a different time. Like you didn't have the services you have now, and people
All
weren't.
right, just say it. I had extra time.
No, not that. But people weren't, hiring tutors back then. At least my parents didn't put a ton.
Yeah, but
on
there probably were
education.
tutors back then, but
Right.
just wasn't a priority.
Right. Like I don't even remember filling out a college application. And I don't even remember in high school, which I struggled in school. And that's another big thing. I never wanted you, not that I felt dumb, but I never wanted you to struggle. Like I struggled in school. Like with
I
reading
struggled in
comprehension.
school.
Right. Okay.
I absolutely, even though I had every single tutor under the sun, blessed.
Right. But
But
I
I-
never wanted to make you feel bad. Remember, I used to make a joke about A, B's, and C's? Boobs.
Oh, is it again? Oh yeah, like A's.
You don't want A's.
You don't want it? Oh yeah. Share the news. Share what that is.
I
Maybe
forgot
I'll-
what the whole thing was.
No, you
but
don't. I remember. I remember when obviously grades are A, B, C, D,
I
whatever.
used to get C's.
I used to get
sometimes
C's, and
A.
you would be say like, think about it like boobs. Like C's, they're like too big. You don't want C's. Like A's, those are too small. Like they're nice, but you don't need them. B's are just right. Perfect boob size, perfect grade size. Like
Right.
just go for the B's. Go for the B's.
Right. I just never wanted to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
And I also am a big
But I was like stressing. I think I remember stressing in high school too, though. What?
Why are you stressing? You
Yeah, because
also
I would
having
try
fun.
so hard. Yeah, but I would try so hard and I would still get C's. Maybe even a few D's every once in a
Right.
while.
But
Nothing like Adderall. That
but
should change my life.
but you know what I also think? This was going to be my ending thing.
Oh.
But I think it's as much as it's great to be book smart, I always say this, I'd rather have the social skills
Any day of
and
the
be
week.
street smart.
Any day of the week.
Especially now. I could Google anything I need to know.
Same.
So,
Same.
so it's fine.
Same.
But
World War II.
Right.
Google.
Right. But if you don't have the gift to gab
I agree.
and the ability to connect with people, I mean, it's not, I mean, and I think you could work on those skills too. And I
Right.
get it. Some people are a little more introverted and
You need to
whatever.
open up like a confidence school.
Well, that's what Jordan always used to say.
Well, it's just
Like
true.
the
You
one
should.
kid
There's so
that-
many confidence coaches now. Like you should be one. If I was someone who was coming to you, I'm not confident, what would you say I should do?
Well, I raised you, so I made sure you were confident.
Yeah, but what did you do to instill confidence in
I
me?
constantly exposed you to new things to make you a more interesting person. I constantly focused on your strengths. A lot of positive reinforcement. Confidence, you were loved, you were safe. You weren't that kid sitting on the soccer field that, you know, the parents were never picking you up. You never had to
No.
go without lunch.
Oh. Not even because you were a good mom. Like you are a foodie. If I like call my mom now and I'm like, oh, I'm a little hungry, she's like, go pick up this. I'll send you this. Like it's a little like OD in the best way possible.
Right.
But I would never starve in the household.
But there's some kids that never even learned the basics, like learned manners or whatever. And it just made me think of another story. And then sometimes when you're not in the situation, you don't see it. I mean, there's kids that struggle out there now and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think there's so much out there now. And it has nothing to do, there's free programs, organizations,
Confidence coaches.
right. But you figure out if your kid has some, you know, anxiety or mental challenges, whatever, like there's medication. I mean, I think you never give up.
We're team ADHD medicine in this household.
Yeah, but you took it for 2 years. And
No, I
you're good.
didn't. I was begging you to take it because I was like, I cannot do well in school
And why didn't I want you to take it?
because you didn't want to change my glowy, sunny personality, which valid because I turned into a raging bitch when I was on it.
Came home nasty.
But you know what? It got the grades for me to get into the college I wanted to get into. It got me through that. And then here I am.
And then once you were learning something you loved.
Right.
you
When I was
flourished.
learning about a fucking follicle, I didn't care. But
Right.
like when I was learning about advertising that I cared about, I didn't need the drugs.
Right.
But team Adderall.
Right.
Love.
But I think as far as parents, like some parents think, you know, you're done with your parenting, but some kids need tough love or a gentle glove.
Do you think you
to
still parent me a lot
push
now?
out the door?
Or do you think I parent you?
I think now it's totally 50-50.
I parent you.
No, like we work well together.
I think so too.
Yeah. I mean, like, job well done. I say that to dad. Like,
What?
you know, because dad
Yeah.
sometimes says like, "Oh, I want to retire." I'm like, "Oh, I did my job and I did it great.
Yeah.
I'm done." But it made me
You
think
get
of
an A. Even though A's are
Plus,
too small, you get an A.
It made me think of a good friend of mine whose son definitely had learning differences, maybe some behavioral differences. And my friend works full time. She's great. And her son like still lived with her, and she used to get up at 5:30 in the morning, like to cook him dinner every day.
5:30 in the morning
to cook before she went to work, because when she comes home from work, she was too tired.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, you need to teach him how to cook. She's like, no, I'm nervous with him cooking and whatever. I was like, you need to like get him out of the house. And she's like,
yeah.
and it was kind of like tough love, but I was like, you need to help him. Like,
yeah.
it will help you too and give your freedom, and he's going to feel so much better about himself. And then, you know, we kept the conversation going, and then, you know, I kind of am brutally honest.
I wonder where I got that from.
But I really haven't lost any friends to it, so maybe in a weird way people appreciate it.
I'm the same exact way. I am very brutally honest. And I always like caveat by saying, like, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but like, this is my honest, even just like friends and like relationship issues or even just work advice, like I will be the one to give tough love, and I've, knock on wood, never lost a friend from it because we're not
Right.
being dicks or assholes. We're
Right.
just being like, we're just a third party perspective.
Correct. So, and when you're in it, you don't realize it. But
Correct. Yeah,
I always have said healthy birds fly the
it's
nest.
true.
And you're never done with your parenting. And I said to my friend, I said, you know what? I said, if he could hop in the car and drive to his weed dealer and pick up weed, you don't think he could cook for himself? And I swear,
Period.
I think a light bulb went off in his head. He's now
She in
living
her
on his
head,
own.
or you said it to her or him?
I said it to her.
Yeah, who's she related?
She then, whatever, he lives on his own now. She helped him set him up for success. She's still parenting, but like,
You got to charge hourly, girl.
but sometimes when you're in that, trust me, it's not like I have an education in this or whatever, but sometimes you just
Your education is life.
life, right? Life education.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't think I've always been so confident though, to be honest. Like we were just, I mean, I know I was so young. We were just talking about today, like me on stage doing ballet when I was younger. Like I was hysterically crying and needed to hold the teacher's hand.
But I think you were a little bit of a Klingon then now too.
Well, that's still prevalent in my adult life too.
No, you're not a
Kidding. But I wasn't always confident, I would say. I don't think I became confident really until I was in my 20s.
Yeah, but you were still never like an introvert and
No, but you can be extroverted and still insecure.
yeah, but you weren't really insecure, Danny. You were
I don't think
always
I was
like
ever,
a fun chick. You had a great little crowd.
I don't think I
of
was ever
people.
insecure, but I was never, I think I very much like grew into myself in my later 20s,
That's it.
I would say.
But still,
Just through like I think largely through my work is where I became, like when I first started working, I think I felt very confident in what I was doing.
right where you really flourished.
Right.
Right. But you've always been you always have a great skill set with communication and being with people and being a good friend and being a nice person.
Well, that brings me
I mean, there's
into,
some people who don't even know how to hold a fork, and that's like their parents.
I was told, okay, I was actually told by my boyfriend that I hold the fork wrong. Yeah. We hold our forks wrong. How do you hold a fork? Like
I don't know.
like
Well,
that.
I'll show you later.
He flips the fork and puts your finger, like if this is the fork, he goes like this. We basically hold the fork like, what's the word?
I'm a chick from Queens. I
Yeah,
hold
we
the
hold it
fork.
like a chick from Queens, okay?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right, but you know still the basics.
Yeah. I
You're
don't
not,
know.
You're not licking your knife and your fingers. like
I
that,
would
right?
lick my knife. No, the worst is the finger scoop.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the shovel.
But when I used to play,
I knew you were gonna go. Into
yeah,
this.
when I used to play like still play canasta, when I used to play mahjong. I mean, I had friends that were like licking their fingers and like touching my tiles. It's like, all right,
No, but you
get up
definitely
and
no.
wash your hands.
I actually not lost a friend. It was a girl in my friend group, and we were away, and I swear we like have not been as close. We were not close
You have to
since.
tell me who it is.
I will after. We were in Israel and on birthright, and we like all
Okay,
came
who it
off
is.
of a bus, and we're all sharing food, and it was we were like she put her hands on something after like being on a bus, and I was like, can you please like wash your hands before you like put your hands in the food we're all touching? And she goes, do you seriously just know what you just asked me? I go, do you seriously know what
Right.
you just replied to me? Like, disgusting. I swear we haven't barely spoken
But
since.
that's when you're like germaphobe. I'm a huge germaphobe. And
Huge.
you probably still do this. It used to freak me out when you were little. Like you'd share ice cream with your friends, licking it.
I
That's
still
gross
do
to me.
that. I still
I don't
do
do
that.
that. I don't.
I don't like, I'm not like mouthing it, but like I'll give a gentle lick.
Yeah, no. Like you could share. I'll give you some food, but I'm not. You're not eating it off my fork. I always say like I don't
I've
want your
actually
mouth.
realized like I've never eaten off your fork.
No, because it's fine for you to eat off my fork, but I don't want to eat off my fork after you.
And you don't want to eat off my fork. I'm
Yeah.
clean though. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
who
That's
knows?
rude. I wish my mouth was in more places. Kidding. Okay, this brings me into what we learned from each other. You've kind of touched on a lot of these things, which are amazing, but we can like deep dive into them more. Number one was this branching out.
Right, which is so important, isn't it? Like, just to
It's
meet
so
different
important, but what do you
people
think
and-
you actually did to get me to branch out? Like, and how did I even really branch out?
Well, yeah, because you used to have your little pod. You know, your two besties who I still love. One
Well,
lives in Israel and one lives in California.
yes, but I also had a
But then you
full-blown friend
had
group.
yeah, but then you branched out into that whole other group, which
Yeah.
was great too. But they weren't initially on the
No, I've
thing.
known Casey and Alice since I was, like, in the womb.
Right, right, right. But then you always, even in college, you had a lot of friends. Like I always tried to encourage you to meet different people.
I don't know if I met
Not
anyone
not
different from
different,
me,
but
but
just meet like new people and be friendly to everybody and be
yeah.
kind to everyone and nice to everybody.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing I wrote down too is like it's so basic, but being nice to everyone because there's just times where like even for work now I've had to get reconnected to someone who I was in high school with and I haven't spoken with or barely spoke with in high school. And it's relevant for us to be in touch now for business or whatever
There was some
purposes.
guy from college that you just are doing it.
Yes, I just got a piece of new business from this guy I went to college with. Like we were friendly. We weren't like buds, I would
Right.
say, but like in the same social circle. And he presented a new business opportunity to me and now we're working together.
Right.
It's so true. I
So
forgot about that.
do the branch out for people who are watching.
If you're viewing. This is what my mom used to do when she would say I have to branch out. She wouldn't physically say branch out. She would just like extend her arms out. She's like, you gotta, and then just extend her arms out with the shoulders really high up by her ears. The importance of friendships, we already touched on that.
Right.
But I think also it's important to bring it back to, we've talked a lot about mother-daughter relationships this episode, but going back to like romantic relationships too, is keeping that foundation of friends while you're still in a relationship. Huge. It could be so hard to keep that while you're in maybe a new or flourishing, fast-paced relationship. But even just like going through it now, it's so important to still have those friends and those foundations to have outside of your relationship and have a life outside of your partner.
Right. And having friends, because sometimes dad's like, well, what do you do all day? Which I love that. But even being a good friend to someone, sometimes, I mean, not so much now, but when I had kids and I was doing stuff for you and being there for you and food shop, doing all the normal mom things, I still had people I needed to reach out to or see or
it's
people who went through stuff. It's a little bit of work.
It's definitely work. And my friends and I always talk about, my friend Rachel specifically, we always talk about how it's work where it's like I praise her. She's so good at it. At calling
She's
people.
a rock star.
Yeah, she's a badass. Like you have to like carve out time out of everyone's very busy day to talk to your friend on the phone for maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
But you have to do it in order to, well, one, I'm interested in doing it,
'Cause you wanna
obviously.
do it.
But two, just to like keep that friendship and foundation going.
Right.
We kind of already touched on all mine. Confidence, we spoke on already, and advocating for yourself. We
Okay.
really touched on mine. I'm upset.
Okay, but you basically also learned, I mean, I'm your mom, so you
No, I
learned a lot
basically
from
learned
me.
how to like pee and poop on my own. I literally learned
Right.
everything from
Except you
you.
wouldn't let me tie your shoes, so that's the only thing
No,
you
because
didn't let me
that's where I became bossy.
do. That's right.
But what did I teach
Which
you?
also reminds me of this funny thing. So when you were little in the store, you were so freaking cute. I also taught you to be a good shopper.
Which is honestly bad because I could be a less
yeah,
good shopper.
I know. You have a lot of boxes in your apartment.
Well,
But
no, that's
anyway,
for work.
I
But
used to put little
but yes.
bells on your shoes. Remember that?
why? So I don't run away from you?
Yeah, because I was busy shopping, but I never wanted to lose you.
Oh, thank God
So-
I wasn't a leash child. Those are horrible.
Yeah, I would never put you on a leash, but you had little
Actually, I
bells.
think you would put me on
No,
a
I wouldn't
leash.
put you on a leash. So you had little bells on your shoes. So
Just
the
an
second-
invisible leash.
The second you walked away, I could hear the bell. Now that I'm getting older, my hearing's not so good. I might not hear the bell.
You
But
needed
back
like an
then-
alarm clock.
Right, but it was so cute.
That's
Your
so
little bells.
cute,
So
like
if you
little
would take a
jingle.
step, yeah, it was
That's
cute.
really cute.
You had bells on your shoelaces.
Okay.
So what I learned from you
Oh, do tell.
is to accept a compliment.
Ah, my
Still
favorite.
not great.
I literally, these are things I've taught you probably like recently, but I literally hate when people give someone a compliment and they're like, really? I feel so fat. Or
Yeah.
like, no, it just say thank you. Like they're giving you a compliment.
No.
You say thank you.
No, the tides are changing.
Okay.
I've also learned.
You look so good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Even though they don't have a filter.
See? See? Just shut the fuck up.
I've also learned to become a better listener. So
Mm.
allowed to ask, I used to just, bombard you with questions. But now I find when we just talk, I usually get my answer if I listen and don't interrupt you with a question.
Mhm. I think I love
Have
that.
you noticed that?
Absolutely.
No, you have?
Obviously, mom, you used to I mean, I think it's also different now because I'm in a relationship, but when I was dating, and like going on multiple dates, like you would bombard with questions,
Yeah.
is the perfect word. Like
Right.
to the point where before I even like finish my sentence, you'd be
Yeah.
like, "So did he like you? Like
Yeah.
where are you going next?" And
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. Like I know him for an hour of my life.
Right.
But I think also when I first started dating my boyfriend now and things were going really, really well, I think you just learned that like over time which I was trying to tell you for years, is I'll tell you things when it's applicable to what we're talking about.
Correct. And if you think about it,
I'm gonna share things with you regardless. It's just gonna be on my timeline.
right.
And I
But
think
now,
that you didn't always get because you would aggravate me when I was dating, is you would ask me all these questions and I'd be like, oh my God, like I'm getting in my head about things now and I wasn't. And I'm like,
right.
do I even like him? Does he like me? Like
Right.
you would get in my head and I would
Sorry.
try to say, all good, we're good, still friends. But I'm so glad you're learning that.
But now we're also pivoting a little because now that we started this podcast,
I love when you use corporate jargon.
that I'm still learning. I used to work.
Yeah.
That I'm still in wait, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, sorry.
I'm old. Oh,
At listening.
I'm still learning now because now if we started allowed to ask and you were dating, I couldn't care less if he liked you. Like I can't explain it. It's really more about you and how you're feeling.
I've been
and
literally
what you
trying to
want.
tell you this for years.
Right, but I just kept thinking, like I just
For
wanted you
years.
to be happy and have that emotional relationship.
But what
with
would I
someone.
always say? I would say if there's something good, you will know. If there's something bad, you will also know.
I know,
like-
but I kind of wanted to know like right away
Right.
when you got into the Uber.
No, right, because you're a psychopath.
Okay.
But glad to know that we're learning. And we're
Okay.
learning and listening here.
Okay. I learned the meaning of unconditional love
Sweet.
because nothing you would say or do would like change the way I feel about
Are
you.
you sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You have something to tell me?
No, I wish, honestly. It'd be
This
fun.
we know together. Belly laughs are the best.
Ugh, the best. The best is when like you literally have the silent laugh and like
Uh-huh.
you're tearing and your
one,
stomach hurts.
one of the most important things, and now I passed it on to my friends, so we laugh.
What?
No snapping your fingers when you dance.
No, but it's so scary, Mom. I do that now.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah,
Used
like
to make fun of me.
yeah.
Yeah, you gotta like snap a little.
But I've upgraded from Lauren and I used to always dance and do like a frowny face. We'd be like, it's bad. It's bad.
You still try to teach me how to smile on camera.
Yeah, but because you're just trying to be like me and do a soft smile. Do it. You look like the purge.
So funny. My friend Jackie
Just
did a
literally,
whole post with her sorority sisters, and one of them said soft smile, and I had to look to see what it was. It was like a little.
no, but you don't need to tuck your lips in. Like, just be like, no.
Well, we don't have to do that now. You share all.
I don't think I've taught you that just yet. We're still working on that.
Like smile for a picture because you remember I was making that weird face for a while. Yeah. You taught me all your organizational tips.
Like what?
You
The
use
baby hangers?
Yeah, like that kind of thing. Because you're so like crazy and neat.
The things you learn on TikTok.
You taught me skincare routines.
No, don't listen to me. I have like raging hormonal acne.
No, but that I'm supposed to moisturize. I think I went to bed with like a dry face for like 20 years.
You probably thought like drying your face was good for you.
Exactly. So I learned
Okay.
that from you.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I don't think I'm
Um,
a skin guru at all. So no one listening to me here, listen to my skin advice.
Well, maybe if you don't have your hair in your face.
What do I want to do? I have like a mop on my head 24/7. You know what it's like to live with a mop on your head.
That's correct.
think
How
you-
I love your style.
Okay, this was so nice and so informative. We got a little bit on like the deeper side, but do you
Yeah.
feel better talking about it?
Yeah, I feel good talking about it. I mean, I could tell you a lot of stories.
No,
that are
we would
sad,
need a
but I just
whole reality television series on
right,
this.
but it's kind of good for people to know how we have such a great relationship. And I do
Yes.
think this platform is really helping moms and daughters
We
and
hope.
chat and opening up, and also kids who don't have a great relationship with their parents. Like they need to pivot when they're a parent.
Right. Or it's also if there's someone listening who doesn't have a relationship with their mom or dad, like there's opportunity for the kid to speak up too. It's not, I guess it's mainly on the parent, but there's also opportunity for like bringing it back to like dating and relationships. Like you can go to your parents and talk about those conversations. Like there's nothing weird about it.
Right. And then no matter
I think
what
sometimes
age-
I went a little too far. Like you know a little too much about my dates and whatnot, but
But it's all good. And no judgment.
no, that's the biggest thing is no judgment. I think it's like if there was judgment around like the things I do or used to do, whatever, like I wouldn't come to you.
Right. And every guy, there was like a good takeaway.
Thank
This
you
is,
so much for listening. I feel like this was like a nice therapy session.
no, it was so
I should
good.
charge you.
It was
I
so,
charge hourly.
it was so good. No, but hopefully it helps some people not feel so alone
Right.
because it's very common.
Air hug. Love you.
Let's go shopping.
Let's go shopping. There's a great sample set around the corner. My mom's itching to go. Thank you so much for listening. Like, subscribe, follow, all of those good things, and we'll see you next week.
Be well.
I hate when you say that.
Bye.
Bye.